Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of r/entitled parents. Parents want my entire paycheck. Okay, so I, 16F, just got my first job like a month ago. Last week, I got my first ever paycheck, which was really exciting. Now, one of the main reasons I got a job was so I could cover some of my own non-essential expenses, clothes, stuff for hobbies, room decor, some food, since my mother, 52F, is a stay-at-home mother, always has been, and I didn't want to be a burden for my father, 56M. Before I even got my first paycheck, I had budgeted exactly how much I wanted to spend and what I wanted to spend it on, since I didn't want to blow it all. My plan was to save at least half and spend what I didn't save. I'll admit, I did spoil myself a bit, got some new clothes, a new sewing machine, and am gonna nails done. All of this was only like $180 out of $500, but I also gave a portion to the church, as per my mother's request. I plan to put the rest of this in savings and not touch it. My mother is terrible with money. Like, blow through $800 in one day type of terrible. She's also always asking someone in my family for money, like my dad, or my siblings, 22M and 21F, and usually they give it to her. But my sister's rent has went up and her work hours have been cut, so she doesn't have money to give out like she used to. And my brother isn't working because he's only home for the summer. My father also has some new expenses to pay, so basically nobody has handouts for her anymore. So she decided to come to me. Since I first received my paycheck, she's been acting kind of weird. Like when I got it, she wouldn't leave me alone until I told her how much it was, even though I wasn't comfortable sharing that information with anyone. And then she started talking about how, in her culture, I'm a first-gen American, the entirety of a child's first paycheck is given to the parents as an offering and a way to show thanks for raising them. I told her that it's a good thing I wasn't born where she was, so I don't have to do that, and I thought she would stop. But she brought up how it's been so long since she got a pedicure. It's been literally 3 weeks. I said okay, and then she asked me if I would pay for it. I gave her $30, how much our regular nail salon charges for pedicures, and she got upset and said it wasn't enough. I told her that I didn't have any more to spare, and she said I was being greedy. Okay, whatever. Then, we went grocery shopping, which she paid for, as usual, with my brother's EBT card. I got a few snacks/ingredients and my food came up to like $27, which isn't bad since I share my snacks with my siblings and I cook for them too. But then, my mother starts complaining like, if you're gonna eat all that, then you're gonna have to start paying for it too. It's rude to try and bankrupt your brother. I was upset that she was making comments on my eating habits. She's always making comments about my body, and also frustrated that she was trying to milk more money out of me, so I just told her to put all my snacks and stuff down and that I didn't need them really anyway. She got even more upset and said I was making a scene and being spoiled, but I just ignored her. The thing is though, it's not just her. My father is acting like this too. First, I took a shower. I do take kind of long showers, like usually 30-ish minutes, but this was never a problem until now. He literally stormed into the bathroom. Like he actually slammed the door open, super uncomfortable for me but WTVR, and told me that if I was gonna be wasting his water then I was gonna have to start pitching in for the water bill. And he was serious. So now I don't shower when he's home to avoid conflicts like this. And then, he told me to give him $50 to send to his family back home. I asked if he would pay me back, and he said he shouldn't have to, since he's never asked me to pay him back for raising me. Basically, I don't know, maybe I'm actually just being too stingy. They're not wrong that they never asked me to pay them back for raising me, so maybe I do owe it to them. But also like, I really don't make that much and I think I should be allowed to spend my money how I want to. I'm literally going into my senior year, which is so expensive already, and I don't want to spend all my money in the case of an emergency. I just really want to save, and they're not letting me do that, but I don't know if they're entitled or maybe I am. Sorry if this is too long. Edited to add, OMG, I don't know how I forgot this, since this was actually really upsetting and the whole reason I made this post, but like a few days ago, I fell asleep on the couch, with my phone unlocked I guess, and like right after I dozed off, I feel someone grab my phone, which was next to my head, and so I wake up, and I look at her all confused and ask her to give it back and she did. But she forgot, or doesn't know how, to close recently used apps, so when I opened the phone, I saw that she had opened the Zelle app. And I don't want to accuse her of anything, but I feel like if I'd woke up any later, she probably would have sent herself money or something. I don't know, but that was really weird. Edited to add too, this has nothing to do with my title/story, but my mother just told me I was disappointing because I told her I would vacuum later since I have really bad cramps right now. Rude. Edit. I took a break from this post because I was overwhelmed by all the comments and advice, but thanks everyone for reading and, mostly, being patient and helpful. To respond to a couple things I keep seeing/clearing things up. Sorry for taking 30-minute showers, lol. Sorry that it's a tough pill for me to swallow that a bunch of strangers on the internet are calling my parents abusive. I'm not saying anyone's wrong or right, and I seriously appreciate that you're all trying to help, but I'm not refusing solutions, or, it's just a lot to handle by myself. I'm kind of against talking to a trusted adult about all this, but it's not willful ignorance or anything. I don't have any close family, so the only options would be a therapist or a school counselor. I can't see a therapist because my mother is anti-therapy, and talking to a school counselor is risky because she's required to tell CPS, and a case like that would put my mother at a pretty high risk of deportation. It's pretty personal and I don't want into it, but there's that. I know it sounds like I'm being forced, but I am seriously a practicing Christian and I enjoy giving to the church. I never minded giving to the church, it was just that the amount I was expected to give, 10% of my pay, was a lot considering what I was earning. Next story. Entitled Mom keys my car over a handicap space she couldn't park in. This happened roughly 2 weeks ago. Me, F16, and my mother, F36, were pulling into a car park for a Home Bargains. To my non-UK readers, this is a largish shop that sells basically everything for cheap. We drive a brand new convertible BMW, this is important. My mother pulls into a disabled parking space and we get ready to go into the shop. This is the last available disabled parking space in the car park. For some context, my mother has issues with her back and can't stand or walk for very long without serious pain, so we have a disabled badge to park close to shop entrances. As I'm getting out of the car and walking around to the boot/trunk to grab some bags, a woman, the entitled parent of this story, starts yelling at me saying that we can't park there. Conversation goes like this. Entitled Mom, excuse me. Me, turning around and making a confused face. Entitled Mom, you just took my parking spot. We didn't, she was behind us when we pulled in. Me, I wasn't driving, sorry I guess. Entitled Mom, this spot is for disabled people and parents with children, you need to move now, I have children in the back. Me, I have a disability badge in the car, we're allowed to be here. Entitled Mom, you don't look disabled in the slightest, these are only for disabled people. Me, yes, my mum is dash, she cuts me off, shouting. Entitled Mom, people like you disgust me, you think you're entitled to park anywhere you want, you need to move your stupid car before I call the police. At this point, she's out of the car and she's getting very close to me and shouting in my face. Up until now my mother was waiting in the car for me to grab her a trolley to lean on while we shop, however when she heard the shouting she came out of the car. Mother, shouting, hey, that is a child, why the F are you getting in her face? My mother used to work in a bar, she can be very scary when she wants to be. Entitled Mom, you can't park here, this is for disabled people and parents only, you entitled bad woman, I have 2 kids that are hungry, I need this spot. Mother, I have such and such medical condition, ND for privacy, I am allowed to park here and it is none of your business, and she goes to grab the badge and show it to this woman. Entitled Mom, still shouting while my mother is getting the badge, women like you feel like they can do anything they want, you're vile. In this I think she was referring to my mother's appearance and the brand new car. My mother is very pretty for context here and she probably assumed we were very well off, which we aren't. I've walked away at this point, a few more words were exchanged while my mother flashed her the badge that I didn't fully hear. She gives us a dirty look and calls my mother a tramp as she's driving off to park somewhere else, and we go into the shop and carry on with our day. A boy around my age, the entitled mom's son apparently, comes up to me and my mother while we're shopping and is profusely apologizing for what happened. We tell him it's not his fault and just walk away. We're in the shop for about 40 minutes and we come out to see that the passenger side door of our car has 3 huge scratch marks in it. This tramp keyed our car because we parked where we were allowed to. We straight away connect the dots and my mother goes inside to speak to the security team while I phone the non-emergency police line to report it. Fast forward a few days and we get word from the police that they identified the woman who did it from security feed of her doing it and her license plate number on the feed of the argument between her and us too. The home bargains police cutout saves the day yet again. Seriously, how stupid was she to do it in broad daylight in front of a busy shop? According to the police's info, she denied everything and is persistent in saying we did it ourselves to frame her. We're currently awaiting a court date for vandalism and the insurance payout to get the car fixed. We have the security footage of her actually scratching the car up as evidence, so I think we'll be fine in both court and insurance terms. We'll update soon if anyone is interested. Also just occurring to me after writing this, her son had to be at least 15, and parent and child bays in the UK are usually limited to children under 5, so she couldn't even park there if she wanted to. TLDR, entitled mother starts argument because we parked in space we were completely entitled to, keys car over it and is now facing charges over it. Next story. My mom, 55, said I should be supporting myself at 19. Her mom still pays her rent. My mom grew up with very wealthy parents, and to this day, has never bought a car of her own, has had a house bought for her, is a trust fund baby and had not only her bachelor's degree completely paid for but 2 years of graduate work as well. Fast forward to today, she's been working at the same awful paying, 8 months a year teacher's assistant job for almost 24 years now, that doesn't utilize her degree at all, and is paid less than $30,000 a year. She's totaled at least 5 cars in just my lifetime and had new ones immediately bought for her, and she couldn't afford the bills and taxes in the house she was bought, and instead of selling it, didn't pay anything and let the house foreclose. The house foreclosed when I was about 6 or 7 and ever since we've been either homeless in people's basements or in apartments. I'm now 19 and started college this past year, and I've become increasingly aware of her lifestyle. Every apartment we've lived in has been paid for, rent, by my dad's child support checks every month, and now that my brother and I are both over 18, my grandparents are paying my mom's rent in full. This would be one thing if it was an $800 a month studio apartment, but my mom now lives alone. My brother and I moved for college, in a 2-bedroom, 3-floor apartment that's just under $2,500 a month. With this being said, my parents agreed when they split up that each of them would take responsibility for helping with one of the kids' college tuitions, and my dad has been helping my brother fund and organize his education. My mom on the other hand refuses to, and literally can't right now, help with any tuition money, and still yells at me for taking out student loans because she doesn't like debt. Weird. I was even accepted to my dream school senior year and declined so I could do super cheap community college for the first 2 years, then hopefully transfer to my dream school to get my BA diploma there. My wealthy grandparents don't want to help me on 2 accounts at this point. One being that they're paying for my 55-year-old mom's rent, which adds up to over $25,000 a year, more than my college tuition, and also that they also think my dad should be paying for my college. He cannot support both my brother and I. My brother has also taken out student loans, just much less. I've told my mom now countless times that if she just moved to a smaller apartment, or got a higher paying job, the family would be able to contribute more money towards the good cause of my schooling, and less towards rent money that has zero return on investment. In response, my mother tells me that I am the problem, because I steal money from her when I'm home for the summer and eat her food, and holds any incremental amounts of gas money she'll randomly send me while I'm at school over my head. I feel like I'm going insane when I talk to her because she does not hear anything she doesn't want to, and will not do anything that she doesn't feel like doing even at everybody else's expense. It's such a hard position to be in because generally she's very loving and emotionally supportive of me, but it's hard for me not to see her as having bad intentions or be resentful when she has all of her options laid out right in front of her and still chooses to do what's worst for everybody else. As of yesterday, she told me I'm cut off from any gas or grocery money while I'm at college, and she refuses to ask my grandparents to contribute because she already gets so much money from them. Also, just for reference, since she works at a school and gets summer vacations, her mom sends her weekly paychecks for doing nothing. My mom works the same amount as I go to school, and goes out to eat with friends at least 2-3 times a week. I swear to God, She has Taco Tuesday, Wednesday night dinner, and Sunday brunches every single week. I do seriously feel like I'm going fully insane when I talk to her about these kinds of things, and it's so stressful to be in financial position as a kid, especially when I know solutions are at arm's reach and she has had every life advantage available to her to give me those same benefits. She's not a diagnosed narcissist, but from my research she very much fits every description and symptom to a T. Any insight, validation, or advice is greatly appreciated. Next story. My sister and mother have zero respect for my privacy. Context: I'm 21, my sister is 24, my mom is 46. This has been going on for years at this point. For the longest time I've tried to get my sister and mom to respect my privacy, most notably in regards to not opening my packages and not walking into my room unannounced. Every single time I try and get them to respect these, it turns into them going completely on the defensive, aka what do you have to hide, or we're just making conversation. A favorite of theirs is claiming I'm being ignorant in the way I tell them it's private and that I'm trying to get a rise out of them by making jokes and that. I've told them in a joking way a few times that I want privacy, but only because I was hoping they'd listen to me if I did that, since they weren't listening to me when I was being serious. And in their eyes though, they are listening to me, cause now instead of opening my packages they wait for me to come home from work or whatever and want me to tell them what it is and show them. If I say no, I get shouted at and name-called. In regards to bursting into my room, I told them to knock, which they do now. Except what happens is either they knock, wait for my response, and regardless of the response they walk in anyways, or they just knock and walk in without even waiting for me to reply. Earlier today I got into an argument over this with them again. I ordered a package for my GF, and they asked what it was. Now TBF, it said perfume in small writing on the box, so they already knew what it was, and honestly it wouldn't have bothered me showing it to them, but I've gotten sick of their nosiness, so again I wouldn't tell them. They decided to call me an a-hole. Then when I tried explaining to them, again, about my privacy and packages and how I want them to respect my privacy, they pretty much refused to acknowledge what I was requesting and instead suggested to have my packages shipped to a P.O. box if I don't want them being nosy. Honestly, for the last few years I've felt a sense of entitlement from the two of them, but this just kinda confirms it to me. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel our posts.